Hello and welcome. We are so glad that you have joined us this evening as we continue to walk through this journey of parables in the path of faith, in the path of the just. But before we delve deeper into the business of the day, I want to extend a debit of gratitude to the Ribono Shel Olam, the Master of the Universe, for the gift of life. So, like I've said, we're going to study a parable of two twins coming from this book, The Magidi Diamonds from the Magidi of Dubno. There's a very, very important parable in this book that I thought we should share. So, a couple of twins, one was a sophisticate, a worldly white person, and the other was a simpleton, a person lacking intelligence or common sense. This parable, like I've said, is a comparative analysis of a life without God, a life without Hashem, and a life with Hashem. So, to support that assertion, I'll unravel a sweet parable from this book that I've heard from the Magidi of Dubno. This is the book, the Magidi of Dubno, told a very, very interesting parable about a old couple who were blessed with twins by Kadosh Baruch Hu. So, as rich parents usually do, they built their sons beautiful houses in the neighborhood. Both of them went to the same school, very, very highly recognized schools, Group A schools. And yet, my friend the Simpleton was not good at school, was not good in school, was not good in maths. So what did he do? He was very unsuccessful. But as parents, the education of your children is very, very quintessential. It's a very quintessential element. The education of your children. So to parents, the simpleton, the guy who was a simpleton, was not good at school. So the parents were not happy. They took this friend of mine, the simpleton. Both these guys were two, the simpleton and the sophisticate. So the parents took this guy, the simpleton, the rabbi, to consult for a revelatory audition. So they wanted to find from the rabbi what could be the problem. So the rabbi opened the Bible and read a very, very important verse from Judges chapter 14. Shoftim is Judges chapter 14 verse 4. The verse talks about Shimshon and Samson. So the verse says, now his father and mother did not know that this was coming from Akadosh Baruch Hu, that this child was not performing in school. The verse says this was done by God, by Akadosh Baruch Hu, the Ibishtar, who was seeking to prove to the world, to prove to the parents that knowledge without God is both pointless and meaningless. That's why the academically challenged Simpleton was not very successful in school, and he was more religious, morally more religious person. Right, so that's the story. So, but the sophisticate was ratio-sensitive. The sophisticate was a bookworm. The sophisticate was a blue stock. The sophisticate was a bass blue. He was a bookworm, like I've said. Very good grades. GPA score, highest GPA scores, very good. And usually parents, they gravitate, their inclination, they gravitate towards the child who is academically strong. So they loved this guy, the sophisticate, was very intelligent. So in the course of time, the parents, the wealthy parents, with time, their status went lower and lower until they had lost everything and they became poor. And as time went by, they all died. As they were getting older and older, they died, they depart. And they went in heaven to graduate with the Yeshua. So they died. But before they died, they said to their children, to their twins, you guys, as you see, we are old now. We are very old. We don't have anything. So we don't have the means to support you. So do whatever you will be able to do. So the Simpleton raised his hand and said, I'm academically challenged. I cannot do anything. So I need to go and train as a shoemaker, as a cobbler. A shoemaker like Enoch, this Enoch the seventh from Adam was a cobbler, a shoemaker. So I let me go and train as a shoemaker. So he went and got trained as a shoemaker, but still he had difficulties in shoemaking. And the Sophisticate, however, felt that he was of deep understanding and academicism, and did not want to occupy himself with such simple work in the village. What did he do? He made up his mind that he would go out in the world and see what he could do. You see, he went to the marketplace, strolled around, he saw a large wagon with 4 horses in harness. He rushed through. He called out to the merchants, "From where are you coming? From where are you going?" They said, "We're going to Warsaw." "We're going to Warsaw." They said, "Please, I want also to go to Warsaw." The friend of mine, the Sophisticate, "Please take me to Warsaw." So he asked them, maybe you could use a helper. So they took him to Warsaw. And they saw that he was a very brilliant young chap, brilliant young guy. And it was pleasing. So they took him on, and he went with them, served them very well on the road. However, he considered himself quite sophisticated. And when they came to Warsaw, he decided now, when he was in Warsaw, he decided now that I am in Warsaw. Why should I be bound to these guys? I'm learned, I'm a Sophisticate. Maybe there's some better place here in Warsaw. Maybe some better, green pastures in Warsaw. Then he said, I will go and see what I can find. He went to the marketplace and began to seek information to see he could find a better situation than to be a donkey driver. He didn't want to be a donkey driver anymore. So what did he do? He went to the men who had brought him there, the caravan guys, and said to them, "Guys, I'm no longer comfortable with your trade. I cannot be a donkey driver anymore. Let me go." So he went further and saw the shop clerk in Warsaw. So the shop clerk, he saw the shop clerk and said, "Say, I need a job. I'm very intelligent. I'm very good in numbers. This is my certificates. I'm very good in numbers. Can you help me?" Yeah. So he got employed and he took a job as a shopkeeper. It was very customary that new employees, then receive very lower meager wages and do very hard work, very low minimum wages. So only then could they be promoted to higher positions. So the employer made him work very hard. He would train his back, work very hard. The job was burdensome to him. And being a philosopher and a Sophisticate, he made up his mind, why do I need such work? The main reason a man should work is for him to get married, but not to be married now. Let me quit the job and find another job. He had to quit that job. He went away again into the market. He left the job because he thought it was burdensome, it was heavy. So Again, he saw some Martians traveling on a large coach. He said, says, can you help me please? Where are you going? They said, we're going to Laguna. Would you take me there? Surely they took him there to Laguna. So he was waiting for them until they were in Spain. Years passed by since he had visited so many of those countries. And they became all the more sophisticated through all those experiences. Finally, he made up his mind. Now he said, I've been working here, I did this, when he went there in Spain, he started engineering, he left engineering, he started medicine, he left medicine, he started geology, he left geology, and finally he sat down and said, now it is time that I should perfect my goals and then go back home. So at last he sharpened himself in the discipline of medicine. So he became both a medical practitioner, very intelligent, and because of his philosophical inclination, he was not very good. But time was flying. Still being philosophical in his situation, pondering what to do, he then said, no, with this level of knowledge, time had flown. With this level of knowledge, I need to go back home. I have wisdom, I have all these very important professional disciplines. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a geologist, I have everything. So what is left for me is to get married. So he said, no, but when I want to get married, I can't be married here in the far away from home. What did he do? He said to himself, if I'm to marry here, who will know me? What have I accomplished if I marry here? Those people will know me. I must return home. Then they will see me, at home that the accomplished person is returned to the village. That's what he did. Then he went back home to the villages. So our Sophisticate, the most intelligent, the Wizikidi, highest level of IQ, so many professions, very skilled, very erudite, wandering around the world, like we have said, without being led, without being guided by the Creator. What can he do? Now let's get back to our story of the Simpleton. So the Simpleton had learned the trade of shoemaker, like I've said. Since he was simple, he had to study very much to master it. He got married and earned a living from his work. However, he was simple and not an expert in his craft as a shoemaker. So his livelihood was very meager and limited, eating simple food and minimal food. Throughout his life, he was very, very happy. Very, very happy with the food that he got, the food that was eating. With his life, he was very happy. The Simpleton, no education, but full of faith. Then one day, there was a great commotion. The Sophisticate was returning home from abroad. People were very much overjoyed. The Simpleton was overjoyed again. He rushed to join the crowd that was greeting his brother. The Sophisticate was traveling with great pomp in a very huge couch. The Simpleton greeted his brother with love and joy. My brother, my best friend, how have you been doing? Thanks to God who brought you back. The Sophisticate said, get off my way. I don't know you. I have nothing to do with you. The Sophisticate considered the whole world to be nothing. Only his knowledge, only his academic stamina. So to the Simpleton, he had nothing to do with the Simpleton. He said, no, don't give me a headache, get out from me. So, like I've said, the Sophisticate was abroad. His parents at home had died, leaving behind a house that they had built for him. So there was no one to take care of the house. The Sophisticate's house, therefore, was neglected and in ruins, so that nothing was remaining. Nothing was remaining. Thus, when the Sophisticate returned, he had no place to live, and he had to ask for accommodation from the Simpleton. Very interesting story. A lot of lessons here. Lots of moral lessons. The Simpleton said to the Sophisticate, "My brother, come to my house. You can stay with me. I'll move all my belongings into one corner with my wife. And you can have full house. You can have the full house yourself. I just need one room with my wife. We are poor. We don't, we cannot occupy the whole house. Since you are rich, rich and wealthy and very intelligent, you can take the whole house. You can just occupy a corner." The Simpleton was telling his brother, the Sophisticate. So every day, since he was well versed, every day, this guy, he was now living with his brother, the Simpleton. And like someone was well versed and eloquent in modernity and contemporaneity. So he was very eloquent, was an orator, very articulate, capable administrator, forceful writer, and a medical practitioner. So he was giving his young brother free lectures. As time went on, the Sophisticate, my friend, could not find a girlfriend to marry in the villages, because to him all villages were like a chimpanzee, like all chimpanzees. So he could not find a girl to marry. So one day, as they were conversing, the Simpleton then spoke up and said to the Sophisticate, "If only you could reach my level of simplicity." So the Simpleton was telling the brother, the Sophisticate, to say, "What you lack is simplicity. If only you could learn my simplicity, you'll be a very great person." Then the Sophisticate replied, "It is very possible that I can learn that. Heaven forbid I could even learn more, but you cannot be at my level, because I'm very intelligent. But simplicity, I can just learn it." So life went on like that, day in, day out, weeks, months, years. So one day, a king, I think that the same place, one day a king woke up, and the king was reading, the royal registry. So while the king was reading the royal registry and saw the names of these two twins, the Sophisticate and the Simpleton, he found those names in his royal registry. So he found it very remarkable that there were people like those called the Sophisticate and the Simpleton. What did he do? So he decided to send a sophisticated messenger to the Sophisticate and a simple messenger to the Simpleton. He also gave them letters to the governor of that district to say, "Take this letter to the governor of the district, tell the governor of the district to give these letters to these two guys, the Sophisticate and the Simpleton, because I want them here." The king was telling the messengers. So that's what happened. The Sophisticated messenger and the Simpleton both set off, and they came to the governor giving the letters. The governor asked them about these two sons, and they told him that they've been informed by the king that they were here, the Sophisticate and the Simpleton, but the governor didn't know. So that's what the governor ended up doing. The messenger, now from the governor, continued on their journey and arrived. The sophisticated messenger gave his letter to the sophisticate, while the simple messenger gave his letter to the simpleton. Vadani, they were called by the king. As soon as the simpleton caught the letter, he said to the messenger, "Who delivered? Who gave you this letter? I don't know what to do. I cannot read. I didn't finish school. I am unlettered. Unlettered uziva. Read the letter to me." So the messenger read the letter to the simpleton. So absolutely, the simpleton agreed. He said, "No, it's not a joke. Let's go." But the simpleton was overjoyed to be called by the king. He ran and told his wife, "My wife, the king has sent for me." He joyfully rushed out and immediately left with the messenger. So within the same time, I don't know what happened to the governor. The governor was accused of some crime, and the king had removed him from his position. That governor. So the king thought it over and decided that it would be best if the governor was replaced by a simpleton. Unfortunately, the simple guy, found favor in the eyes of the king, and he was blessed, and he was ordained, and he was conferred as the new governor. So the king said that the simpleton would be appointed governor, so he was appointed governor of that district. So now the simpleton was a governor. People were happy, people all related, people were overjoyed. They stood at the gates and told the simpleton that, when we're going to the palace, the king decided that should be a governor. But the governor of this district was accused of a certain crime, a heinous crime. So you are now a governor. So he was now ordained, was now conferred as a new governor. So he was happy, he was now governing because of simplicity. And one of the advisors of the new governor told him to say, because you are unlettered, you know nothing, we suggest that we'll train you, we'll give you some education, so that because the king wants people who are very learned. So I know you're a governor and you are unlettered, but we'll train you. So the advisors of the new governor trained him to read, trained him to, they gave him some lectures about astronomy, math, science. So he was now very knowledgeable within a short time frame. So after some time, he was performing very well. The king thought to himself, the king again said, "No, can you call me the governor?" This new governor was called by the king. So the king began discussing running the government and how to run the government, and was extremely pleased by the eloquency of the new governor. And he said, "No, I must make you a new minister." So he was now the premier, the minister to the king. So you see, simplicity, when you are being led by the Spirit of God, when you are being led by the Shekinah, the glory of God. Meanwhile, our friend the Sophisticate received his letter from the king. When the Sophisticate received his letter from the king, he replied to the messenger who delivered it, "Wait, spend the night here. We'll discuss the matter and make up our minds tomorrow," the Sophisticate. So tomorrow morning of that day, the Sophisticate used his intelligence and philosophical discipline to analyze the letter using all methodologies, the quiz case statistic, to analyze the letter. He spoke about the letter, he divided it, he looked at it, he turned it upside down. The Sophisticate, the letter from the king. What does this really mean? Why should such a king send for an intelligent person like me? The Sophisticate asking the messenger, who am I that the king should call me? Doesn't the king have other wise men? Besides, the king himself is certainly also very wise, said the Sophisticate. For what possible reason could the king send for me? He found this all very puzzling and nonsensical. And first, the Sophisticate said, I'm puzzled. But Somi was pondering. He thought, let me do a research again. Then he did another research, wanting to know why the king had called him. He said to the messenger, my friend, here's my conclusion. I declare that, in my opinion, it is absolutely certain and logical that the king does not exist. The messenger said, what are you saying? Because he was also very intelligent. He replied, but I brought you a letter from the king. What are you saying? I have a letter from the king. What are you saying? Then the Sophisticate said, did you yourself actually receive the letter from the king? No, replied the messenger. Another man gave it to me from the king. I did not see the king actually, but someone gave the letter to me. Now you see, with your own eyes that I am right, said the Sophisticate. There is no king. You did not see the king. You got this letter from a certain man who told you that it was sent by the king. Did you see the king? No. So there's no king. I said, the king is there. This is his seal. Then the Sophisticate said, did you not grow up in the same village, in the same life? Tell me, did you ever see the king? No, replied the messenger. Now you see. Said the Sophisticate. So the Sophisticate was continuously influencing the messenger. So until the messenger was also convinced that there was no king. And then Sophisticate said, I can answer this very simply. Since you are asking an expert like me, someone who is highly knowledgeable, someone who's an academic juggernaut, we've proved using statistical analysis that there's no king. So, like I've said, his argument convinced the messenger. He was convinced to say there was no king, and they agreed. He did not go. What did they do? The Sophisticate got up early in the morning and said to the messenger, let's go somewhere. I need to show you something. So they went right around the world. They went to France, they went to all places, they went to everywhere. He said, I want to prove to you that there is no king, because the Sophisticate had not seen a king since he was born. So they went out to the market. They took hold of him. They asked so many people. First they saw a soldier. Then they said, the soldier, whom do you serve? The soldier said, what question is that? I serve the king. What are you asking? I serve the king. Then the Sophisticate said, do you know the king? Have you ever seen the king? The soldier said, no. How would I have seen the king? I'm in Benga. Because, you know, those days there were no television, there was no social media, so it was very possible that you could just work as a soldier without even seeing the king. So the Sophisticate said, see, even the soldiers themselves, they don't know the king, so there's no king. They did that with the police officer. They say, police officer, have you ever seen the king? He said, no, I'm just a police officer, I've never seen the king. So they did that, doing that for a long period of time, and this Sophisticate influenced the other messenger that there was no God, there was no king. So one day as they were walking, they came across a miracle worker, a wonder worker. So they had no money. So they had, people commemorating, people were happy. So they said to themselves, let's go there and see what was happening. So they saw a wonder worker. This wonder worker was considered a very, very important person in the district. A wonder worker, a miracle worker. So since this guy was also had knowledge in medicine, the Sophisticate, he said to his friend, no, let's go there and see what they are doing. So when he listened to the wonder worker, the Sophisticate said, no. This is falsehood. This is error. It's even more foolish. What belief is this? What belief system is this? Why people believe in chicanery? This is tantamount to barbarism. While they were doing that, people were very angry. People were very angry about those commendations from the Sophisticate. So people said, get away from here. So they were thrown out from the home of the wonder worker, and they were hungry. So they went to an inn, to a restaurant to look for food. So at the restaurant, the restaurateur, the owner of the restaurant was the restaurateur. The restaurateur, as they were eating, overheard the Sophisticate complaining against the wonder worker. And the restaurateur said, the owner of the restaurant said, why are you talking bad about, why bad mouthing the miracle worker? He said, no, he's faking people, he's taking people for a ride. Then the restaurateur was not happy and he threw them away into the dark. So he asked some guardsmen, he asked some swordsmen to take the Sophisticate and his friend out of his restaurant. So they were thrown out of the restaurant. So they went from place to place, from one office to the other, trying to find justice until they were sent to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was that Simpleton guy, was promoted to be governor, was now a Prime Minister. They went there to see the Premier. So as soon as the gate was opened for them to enter and see the Prime Minister, the Premier saw his brother. Oh, my brother. I'm the Simpleton. Do you remember me? Because it was after a very long period of time. I'm the Simpleton. But what happened was the Sophisticate did not recognize him, since he was now very, very rich and a great person. The Premier, the Prime Minister, immediately said to him, look at my simplicity. It has paid. Why were you always arguing with me? Why were you always arguing with me? So, the Prime Minister then said, my brother, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. I've told you since we were growing up to say simplicity and the worship of God, knowledge of God. That's why Shlomo Amelech said in the Bible, wisdom is more valuable than pearls. Wisdom of God, the knowledge of God. Secular knowledge, worldly knowledge does not matter when a person doesn't know God. A person can have bread, a person can have water, a person can have sheepskin, and a person have a better and happier life, even if they are poor. That's why the Messiah, Jesus, in Matthew 5 verse 5, says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. The Simpleton inherited the earth. He was not the minister because of simplicity. What is the takeaway from this Moshu? What truly matters is not how intelligent or capable one is intellectually, but rather how much faith and presence of God you have in your life. Essentially, the depth of your spiritual understanding and connection to a higher power is more important than your mental capacity. than your mental capacity, than your capacity of the mind, than your IQ. So it is very important that a person should perfect his ways towards the understanding, towards the knowledge of God. Worldly treasure, worldly knowledge, secular knowledge is very important, but it's not very quintessential. So you need a life. That's why Isaiah 40 says, those who wait upon the Lord will glide like eagles. So that's the story. That's a mushu, a parable about the sophisticate and the simpleton. A sophisticate pursued a life of pleasures, but the simpleton pursued the life of the knowledge of God. And at the end of the day, God blessed the simpleton. And now the guy with IQ, the guy who was erudite, was now under the minister, was blessed by God. Thank you so much. You have a great day. May God bless you. Amen, amen, amen. Amen, 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 amen.